Hi, I'm Hastings, and welcome to All the Other Music Stuff, a podcast that looks into some of the overlooked aspects of the music industry. And today is fitting for the month because here in South Africa, we are celebrating Women's Month. And yeah, I said, why not have this phenomenal talent, maestra, Lindzi, to come through in the studio? So thank you for coming through,
Thank
Lindzi.
you for having me.
Yeah,
it's so exciting to be here.
Yeah, awesome. I've been looking forward to having you. But yeah, can you please do the honors, introduce yourself, and what you actually do in the music industry?
Okay, well, my name is Lindzi Moore. I am a cellist. I play, I teach. I just basically do whatever comes up, really. I just love being in this industry. I'm sure we'll get into the story, but this was a dream that I never thought would be a reality, to actually work in the music industry. So I'm just grateful every day to do this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you cellist, is that the only instrument that you play?
No, actually, I play piano as well.
Okay.
So I started out on piano when I was young. Yes.
Okay.
And the whole way through kind of school, piano was my first instrument.
Okay.
And cello was just my hobby.
Really?
Yeah. And then only later did cello kind of become the main thing that I really got into.
I didn't know that. Okay, so you said you started off on the piano.
Yeah.
What then drew you to actually play the cello? And actually, maybe in hindsight, how did you actually get into playing the instruments?
So I have a vague story in my brain of our school that I went to. I went to Trinity House in Rampart Ridge.
Okay, cool.
And,
Shout out.
Shout out to the Trin. And they had wanted to start an orchestra.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of suggested to a couple of the piano students to start second instruments that were orchestral instruments.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's why I'm not sure if they recommended I start the cello or if I decided to do cello. I really don't remember.
Is it?
But for some whatever reason it was, I started cello lessons and kind of took it from there. One of my very good friends, who I'm sure you know, Francis.
Frank, Frank.
She also played cello, so we did it together at school, and it was a really fun thing to do. That was just pressure off and just fun to play in the orchestra. So that was the main reason why I started it. Yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, so because you were playing piano and cello, I'm assuming that these were was it like a classical background of teaching?
Yes, absolutely. I was classically trained in both of them. I did piano exams, cello exams.
How far did you get to the piano?
I did up to grade 8. Yeah,
really?
I did. I finished my grade 8 in the middle of high school. I was quite advanced for the time at the time. I haven't really taken it much further than that, but I did grade 8 at the end of high school.
Oh, wow.
And
you're just saying it I mean, guys, if you get to grade 8,
well, like I said, I took it really seriously.
Yeah.
Piano was my thing. I cared a lot about it. I practiced a lot, put a lot of time and effort into piano. And cello was more, I also did exams. I did in school, I did up to grade 7 for cello. And then in matric, I stopped because I had to focus on matric.
Yeah.
And I carried on with piano in matric because that's how it was. Piano was so serious that I kept it going. But cello, I did up to grade 7 during school. And then when I was in university, I did my grade 8.
Okay.
And then last year, I did my ATCL.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For cello.
Yeah, for cello.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so were your parents always supportive of you? I mean, right there you say doing matric, choosing career-wise, going into the music. How was the support at home?
So my parents were always very supportive of music in general. My dad was a pianist.
Cool.
Well, he played piano. He played lots of things. He played the bagpipes.
Yeah.
He played the banjo, the guitar.
Oh, wow.
He was very musical. And my mom did a bit of piano. So they were thrilled that I was into music.
Okay, yeah.
It was interesting getting to the end of school and having to make the decisions of whether to do music or not. And I actually didn't study music. I got into engineering.
Okay.
So I studied engineering at Wits, which was a journey. And it was an interesting time because I I probably wanted to study music. I remember thinking it would be something I'd like to do.
Okay.
Not that it wasn't encouraged, but I think because I was so into piano at that stage, and my piano teacher at the time was like, look, you've gotten into engineering, do that.
Okay.
You can always come back to music if you really want to. And my piano teacher had a similar thing where he had kind of started studying architecture, I think, at the time. And he eventually left architecture to do music. So he had kind of given me that advice to try this thing that's not music, see if you can get your degree.
Okay. So
you can always come back to it.
Yeah.
So initially, I studied biomedical engineering and electrical engineering after that advert. So I completed both of the degrees. Okay. They look great on my wall. And so my parents, I mean, they were obviously happy for me to do that. And then later on, I worked in that field for a while, 3 or 4 years. I worked in corporate financial services, and I did a little bit of engineering work as well.
Okay.
And eventually, when I got the opportunity to switch to the music industry, I was so anxious to tell my parents because they had helped me get through all this engineering studies. And then I was like, sorry.
Now I need to go back to music.
But they were super supportive, and I think they could tell that it was where my heart was, and that it was what made me happy. So since I've been in the music industry, they've been nothing but supportive, which I'm grateful for.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I always ask everyone who's gonna come here like how their support structure was.
Yeah.
Because I mean it's different journeys and stuff, and usually like it's quite rare, I think, when you say like you're going into music, if you have a family that's supportive, because sometimes parents want you to have a secure job, a secure future, and music is
it's unpredictable.
It's unpredictable.
Yeah.
I mean, the industry,
absolutely.
So I think it always comes from a good place that they're worrying for you and they want the best for you, so they want like the more secure stuff. But, so I'm happy like you had like
that's
a
the thing.
good supportive.
I think as a parent as well. Even though I had that, I had a very supportive and secure job, but they could tell that it wasn't making me happy at all. Okay. So I think when you have I don't have a child. I mean, you have children, so you would maybe know. But as a parent, when you can see that your child is doing something that makes them fulfilled, it probably is more important.
True.
At least that's been my experience.
All right.
Yeah.
No, cool. So. Let's take it a little bit back. High school. Is that where you found the JYO?
Yes. Well, actually, my first interaction with the JYO was when I was in grade 7.
Okay.
I went to the zoo one afternoon and we saw the JYO performing at the zoo.
That was like a prominent gig for them.
They used to do it every year. Yeah. So we saw the orchestra performing at the zoo, at Joburg Zoo, and my mom was like, we've got to do this. So I was a very timid child, and my mom was always very, like, she pushed me in a lot of ways to get myself out there because I would have just stayed at home and played piano all day. So she organized an audition for me at the end of my grade 7 year, and then I started the JYO in grade 8.
Okay, so you started in
right at the beginning of high school. Yeah.
Okay, so reason why I'm asking when you entered, because I came to South Africa 2012, and that was when I joined 2012. So
wow, so for me it was 2008.
Okay,
was my first year.
You had been with the JYO for a while. Yeah. Okay, so an interesting story. I'm at the back of the percussion section. So I'm like, that's really cool. Like those twins, they actually chose the same instrument, like they were both playing cello. And then I'm not sure who it was. I can't recall who it was, but he was like, no, dude, they're not even siblings.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay, so we're talking about Lindzi's husband, Brian. So he also plays cello.
He does. We met
And
in
he
the
also
orchestra.
has like
Also a ginger.
So yeah, I mean that's my backstory. Like noticing you, like say like, oh okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting over there. But my assumptions were wrong.
No, it happens often.
Yeah.
My grand's favorite thing to do used to be when she would introduce us to her friends, she would say, "Don't you think they look like they could be brother and sister?" And I was like, "Why are you leading with that?" But it's a good little cult of gingers because
Yeah.
Brian's got lots of gingers in his
Is
family
it?
as well. So when
Okay.
we're all together, it just feels like a big
All
happy
right.
family of gingers.
All
But
right,
yeah, that's
cool.
where we first met. My first day in JWO, I remember arriving. My mom like kicked me out the car.
Yeah.
Go on. And I was like, I don't want to be here. And I remember standing in Wazani block. You know, as you come into
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Wazani
yeah.
block, there's those stairs that
Yeah,
go down.
go
And I remember
down.
standing at the top of the stairs with my cello, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to
Yeah.
go. And Brian was the first person that spoke to me. He was like, you could obviously see I was lost. And he was
Yeah.
like, you need to go here, get your music. You
Yeah.
can come sit next to me.
Wow.
He was very sweet. I think he
Yeah.
had ulterior motives from day one. But he was just so lovely. And we were such good friends.
Okay.
We just, we had a really lovely friendship first.
Oh,
we
okay,
were
wow.
friends for about
Yeah.
2 years. And then in 2010, we started dating. It was very
Okay,
adorable.
yeah.
I'm sure no one took it seriously because
Yeah.
you don't take relationships seriously when you're 16.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you
15 years
are.
later,
Yeah.
we still,
Oh, wow.
still a thing.
That's like a really, really cool, I think, Netflix love story.
Oh.
But yeah, it has been awesome, like seeing your guys' journey.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun.
So you're on the cello section. How was that for you? Like now you're in JYO, the experiences that you had with the orchestra. And I mean, I'm mostly talking with, was Eddie the conductor
When
then,
I
or-
first started the conductor, we had two conductors,
Yeah.
Adam Golding and Timon Varpanar.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
They both conducted, and
Okay.
then Eddie came, I think 2011 or 2012.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But the JWO is I almost kind of think of it as my education in music because I didn't go to university for music. I learned a lot from being
Okay.
in JWO, just orchestral etiquette and,
Yeah.
small things like, as a string section, what you need to be concentrating
Yeah.
on, getting your bowings right, working together, listening to
Yeah.
other people, learning how to follow a conductor, section leaders,
Yeah.
all of this kind of stuff. I mean, I've loved all of your podcast episodes because so many of the people that you've had on have been from the JWO
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
And we had such it was just such an incredible experience. We got exposed to so much, I think, through that organization. It really just gave us, or opened our eyes to what is out there in the music industry.
Okay. So it was you could say like it
you
was
could
a solid
see-
foundation for you.
Absolutely, I
basically.
thought it was. I mean, we did a lot of classical repertoire at that time. We did some more. The later years after, I'm not sure, after you came, I think we started doing a little bit more almost corporate-y kind of
Yeah.
gigs.
Yeah, I think probably if you're saying it in that way, because I remember saying like, okay, classical. Okay, first of all, when I came to South Africa, I wanted to be the best drummer Zimbabwe would ever produce, right? So that was like my aim when coming to study. So I didn't know that there was an orchestra, first
Yeah.
of all, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was an orchestra. I mean, you could see violins and stuff, but like you'd think like, okay, stuff that you only see in the movies.
Yeah.
So for me, getting that exposure of like, I'm in an orchestra
Yeah.
was like mind blowing. And then secondly, to my point, is like the music. So for me, like I think Eddie was like the conductor at the orchestra. And we're doing like Michael Jackson, like, you know,
Yeah.
like we're doing like, I'm like, okay, I
He's
never
done some
thought,
amazing
like, yeah,
things,
so
yeah.
so yeah, like to your point,
Yeah.
like the repertoire was like,
Absolutely. It was so varied, especially I think in the earlier days we did a lot more classical stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas as you say, when Eddie came in, he really like expanded my horizons and my imagination as to what an orchestra could even do. And we did like those Michael Jackson things. We
Yeah.
played in the tattoo with
Yeah.
the
Oh,
bagpipes
yeah.
and so many just random things that I'd never thought were possible.
Yeah.
It was a really cool experience. It was like a beautiful place to be, and the people were so amazing.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed at how many people from the JWO in our time are musicians now. There is a lot.
Yeah,
of
a
them.
lot, eh?
Yeah.
A lot. And yeah, I mean, for me, those who know on the podcast, been trying to get guests on, and as you can tell, there's a thread. Like usually, it's the people that I've connected with from the Johannesburg Youth Orchestra. And Eddie, I did actually ask him like if you can come through to the podcast. So I'm hoping that you can come through.
I'm gonna add to the peer pressure. We need to make that happen because he's a fascinating person. Yeah.
So JYO happens. And now, like you have explained, you went into varsity and you got your degrees and you worked in corporate, but now you're back into the music industry.
Yeah.
Would you describe yourself right now like you're mostly like a freelancing musician?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I do mostly freelance work. I teach, but that's also on a freelance basis. I'm not a permanent staff member at the school that I teach at. So I would say my lifestyle is very much freelance based, which I'm loving. I love it so much. Coming from the corporate background where everything was very much 9 to 5, you have to be here.
Yeah.
I just love the freelance lifestyle. But for now, I wouldn't have it any other way.
All right, cool. And how would you see the freelancing life? Number one, financially, is it easy to navigate, like to get gigs? Also, like maybe to sustain yourself.
Yeah, it's like a constant hustle. I think I am very grateful for my teaching work because that, even though it is freelance on a freelance basis, it is relatively stable for most of the year. Obviously, it's school holidays; it's not as much work, but. That for me, the teaching was the main reason that I could make the move into the music industry. I think it was really daunting thinking of even making that move coming from a financially stable corporate job where I was certain of my income every month. That's why I never really thought I would be able to be a musician because I was like, I could never financially make that work. But doing the teaching gave me the stable financial means to make the move. And from there, I think I worked up more and more of the gigs.
Okay.
And I think gigging is one of the things where the more you do, the more gigging you do, the more gigs you get.
True.
And it's a constant thing where you've got to always be putting yourself out there and saying yes to everything so that you can just build up a reputation.
Because the one time you said no, it'd be like,
Oh, I hate it so much. It's the worst thing when you have to say no to a gig because there is that inherent like, they're never going to ask me again.
Ask me again.
But I think it's one of those things where the more you work, the more work comes your way.
Okay.
Obviously every month is different. That's why I'm really grateful to have A, the teaching, which is relatively stable, and B, I'm very lucky to have a partner who has a stable income as well. So that has been very helpful. I think I'm very blessed to be in that situation because when you're on your own, you have to take up a lot more of the responsibility. Yeah. So Brian and I we're a great team in that way. And he's always been very supportive of me as well.
I mean, I see sometimes you still play, right?
I've thrown him into some gigs every now and then when I get double bookings for things. I'm like, I have a wonderful depth that I can send your way.
I mean, what an amazing depth you have.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so with the teaching, I often find people, like you said, like you're getting into the music industry is not as stable with the the gigs and performances and stuff. And teaching is one of those stable incomes that you can actually have that can sort of make you like, okay, you can do this. But some people don't enjoy the teaching. And they were only doing it for the money.
Yeah.
So I want to find out for you. I mean, no, you can split the fifth or if you want. But I just want to find the sense because for me, this platform, I want to try and make someone out there, maybe someone who's currently at the youth orchestra, they're trying to see like, okay, how are they going to navigate now life after the orchestra? Like are they going to study? How is it? So maybe if they can hear your perspectives to stuff, it might help them as well in that line. So do you enjoy the teaching? Does it come naturally to you? And are there any tips or like experiences that you have had to sort of gain so that you could actually then become like an educator?
Wow, that's a lovely question. I never thought I would teach.
Okay.
Never in my wildest dreams. I can distinctly remember people asking me, through my studies and whatever, would you do music full time? And saying no, because then I'd have to teach and I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So how I got into the teaching was actually through Vian. Vian Hubert, who works at the school that I work at. And they were looking for a piano teacher. For some reason, desperately, they needed a piano teacher at the start of the year. And there were like 20, 25 kids on the waiting list. And for whatever bizarre reason, they couldn't find a piano teacher. And so they landed up hiring me.
Yeah. Cool.
And so I got thrown into the deep end as a piano teacher, which was I never thought I would be. If I considered teaching, I always thought I would teach cello, but I started out as a piano teacher, which I was apprehensive about because also I've never really interacted that much with kids. My brother and I are the youngest in our family, so we didn't have younger cousins or anything. So I was always very kids can stay there. So I was a little bit apprehensive going into it, and I do love it, honestly. I'm surprised, but I really have enjoyed my teaching. I am teaching cello now as well at the school. The previous cello teacher landed up leaving, and I took on the cello students. And I love teaching cello. It's been really exciting to just watch. Now that I've been teaching for a couple of years, I've been teaching, this is my third year teaching. It's not that long. I feel bad even calling myself an educator because I don't feel qualified for that. But I feel like I learned so much through watching the kids learn. I've loved the variety as well. I've really enjoyed teaching cello and piano because it gives you a break from the one instrument, which has been fun. And I think I had a lovely experience with my own teachers. So in hindsight, I realized I was actually very, very lucky with my teachers because I had the same piano teacher from grade 1 until like grade 8 or 9 in high school. The same teacher. Karen Muller, she was lovely. Shout out to Karen.
Yeah, shout out.
And then I had another teacher, Michael Watt, in the later stages of my high school career. And for cello, also, I had the same cello teacher from when I started in grade 4 until I stopped lessons in grade 11, at the end of grade 11.
So there has been that.
So I had amazing consistency in my teaching, which I realize now and seeing the workings of the behind the scenes of staff rotation and stuff at schools. It's not always a given that you're going to have the same teacher. But I had my teachers were always so encouraging. I never had, people always talk about their bad experiences with teachers smacking them with rulers or giving them a hard time. And I must say, I had the most supportive and encouraging teachers. And I think I've tapped into that a lot in my own teaching. And in some ways, I think I'm too soft, actually. As a teacher, I think I need to get better at putting the pressure on sometimes. But I think if I can make an environment in my classroom where the kids want to come in and they're excited and they just want to try things and experiment and learn,
you let them.
It kind of becomes a natural progression. And I've seen it now with the kids that I started out with, because when the kids start, especially cello is difficult to start learning, and they start sometimes grade 2 or grade 3 and they're so little and they have no dexterity.
So when they're starting at that age, what you is it the 3/4 or
they have a half size?
The half size,
and the half size is too big for some of them.
Already.
Even some of them, I think they should be on a quarter size, and so it feels difficult at that stage. And I've had to be patient and realize that. Now that I have some kids that I've seen through, now they're in grade 5, grade 6, they do get somewhere.
You can see
and if you can build up that basis of excitement and curiosity, then by the time they get stronger and they get better at sight reading, and then they can actually start getting really excited about learning.
True. Yeah.
So it sounds really
I mean,
fuzzy, but I just feel like I'm so great. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, I'm so grateful to be in this industry because I've always loved music so much. It's always been such a big part of my life. I've gotten so much out of it. If I can push kids into a similar experience, what a joy. It's such a lovely thing to do.
Lindzi.
Yeah.
No, kudos to you. I mean, in all honesty, on my side also, like I didn't know that you can actually have a a teacher first of all, because the training that I had was from church.
Yeah.
And the way you could learn how to play was to look.
Yes.
You could
That
only
is
look
so-
at the drummer like playing throughout the service and stuff.
Yes.
And then maybe after you'll be like, so sometimes the church say like, no, you can't leave the drums there. You need to pick them up and stuff. So they will use you like as the rodeo
As the
boy,
labor.
like, you pick them up and stuff. And then maybe he shows you here and there. But I didn't know that, okay, there's
You can actually have
a
personal
teacher,
private lessons,
right?
yeah.
Up until I got to, like come this side. So for me, like I said, I didn't know that there was the music teaching side. So it was through the JOIO when we were doing the teacher training.
Yes.
That then I found out about the Aufschulweg and all this stuff. Like, I was like, okay, like actually there's a whole industry within the music industry that actually has like music educators and stuff. So yeah, we always find our ways differently and our paths differently.
Yeah.
And I'm glad like you teaching, because I'm very passionate about the teaching.
You are, and you
so-
do some amazing things
No,
in the
thank
education
you.
space. You
Yeah.
really do.
No, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, so hearing you that you're teaching, I was like, yay, because I know like once you interact with those little ones, then you can see their progress.
Yeah.
Usually it's also life changing.
It really
in a
is.
whole lot of like dimensions. It's like it's a
Yeah.
podcast on its own.
Oh,
but-
absolutely. Yeah.
But no, cool, Lindzi. So, that's the freelancing part of the teaching side, but you still gig.
Yes.
Right. So I know you're part of some prestigious quartets, right? If I can put it that way. Can you do the honors and mention some of the quartets that
Yeah,
you're part
for
of?
sure. I'm very, very lucky in the position that I found myself in, is that I dep for a lot of different groups. So I wouldn't say I'm necessarily permanently in one group.
Okay, yeah.
I've been able to sub in for a lot of different groups, which is lovely. But the main quartet that I play for is Urban Strings.
Okay, yeah.
They're run by Lara Exty, and she is awesome.
Awesome.
She is such a hustler. She
Easy.
is amazing. So they do all sorts, quartets, trios, duos, whatever. I'm very lucky every now and then to get to play with the Muses,
Okay, yeah.
which is an electric string quartet. Female power band.
Yeah.
They're amazing. So their cellist is Neo Buthelezi, who's
Okay.
wonderful as well. And she, whenever they have a double booking, then I get to sub in.
okay,
Or if
that's
she is
cool.
busy, then I get to play with
Yeah.
them every now and then, which is amazing. And I always love it because they're so glam, and
Yeah.
their music, their
Yeah.
repertoire is so exciting.
Yeah.
So
How's that like
It's-
working in an all female quartet?
super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're wonderful. Like they work so hard.
Okay, yeah.
I'm always just amazed at how much they have in their brains, because they play all their music with all their songs. They play without music. They memorize everything.
Okay, so it's
all
okay.
in their brains, like their
Okay.
brain. I don't know how their heads aren't this big, because
Okay, wow.
they work so
Alright,
hard,
yeah.
and they look good while they're doing it as well. So that's that. Yeah, I'm trying to think now, and I'm blanking on everything else. I'm
Yeah,
going to
so
get people afterwards saying,
the
you didn't
Muses,
mention
yeah,
us.
Urban Strings.
I did a little bit of Frank, who I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Frank and I, when we were in university, we started a similar kind of quartet situation
Yeah.
called String Things.
String things, yeah.
Which was a lovely way of getting us side gigs through university. We
cool.
kind of put student musicians together,
Yeah.
and we played quartets, trios, duos, whatever, with music students.
Okay.
And we did a lot of weddings through that as
Are
well.
you still doing that with the all?
It's kind of taken a little bit of a backseat at the moment because
Yeah.
we're both busy with so many other things.
Okay.
But it's in the background somewhere. We're still deciding if we're going to bring it back or what we're going to do with it. But
Okay.
it was a lovely way to break into that space when we were younger. And then I've been playing recently with the Sophia Town Jazz Orchestra,
Okay, yeah.
which is a wonderful group of musicians put together by Bez Roberts. So we've got some
Yeah.
strings in there, some brass, percussion. It's like a
Yeah.
very old 1950s vibe. We all
Okay,
dress
cool.
up and like
yeah, I saw a peek of that.
Yeah.
And I think the soundtrack, obviously, it's like your typical Miriam Makeba, maybe music
Yeah.
and stuff. But I wanted to ask you, so you classically trained, right? You find yourself now working in these spaces and stuff. Like you said, the muses, it's more like maybe contemporary pop music. Now you got the Sophia Jazz Quartet. I know jazz because
orchestra. It's not really a whole orchestra, but
right. So it's all these different music, like different repertoires. How have you navigated through that? Like, and I mean, like, was it easy for you to sort of get into the repertoire that was in classical?
Yeah, I would say it was easy. I think being classically trained, well, at least I did. I learned my sight reading is really strong. Through your exams and stuff, you work a lot on sight reading, and obviously sight reading at quite an advanced level.
Yeah.
Then when it comes to playing some of that stuff that's a bit more contemporary, it's not as hectic, and especially being a cellist, because we rock the bass lines. We don't have to play like super crazy stuff most of the time.
Cool.
So that is... I found the transition was actually relatively easy. Coming from some of the classical repertoire I've played, the stuff that we play in those settings is a lot more manageable.
Okay. And recalling the songs.
Yeah. I've had to... Memorizing is something I was really not very good at when I first had to start doing it. But I feel like it's a skill that you actually develop and you kind of... Your brain starts getting better at pattern recognition and stuff like that. I still can't memorize at all on the piano.
Okay.
Don't ask me to memorize anything on the piano.
So on the piano, you still want
I can't do it. I need music for anything on the piano. I can't memorize anything.
Which is interesting. Like, because I would have thought, like, it will be the other way around.
You would think so. No, piano is too much. This is like a lot. At least for cello, there's just this. This just goes backwards and forwards. It's fine. But somehow I feel single line instruments after... That's why I think piano, going back to education, I'm flip-flopping. Piano is such a good foundation. If you can start on piano, you learn to read bass and treble clef. It's a lot of coordination doing both hands. And then when you go to a single line instrument, it feels so much easier.
Like it's streamlined because now you just focusing on one clef.
So that's the thing. The challenge comes more in with the repertoire is more when I have to actually play classical repertoire. Then I'm like, okay, I need to actually up my A game.
Play that? Like, have you played in some philharmonic orchestras?
I've done one or two of the edu outreach concerts with the JPO. I've never played in a season for JPO, so I haven't had to play any of that heavy classical repertoire with them. If that ever happens, I'm really going to have to bring my A game to that and practice a lot.
All right, cool.
Because you do get out of practice of playing that hectic classical repertoire. And then obviously when I did my ATCL exam last year, I had to learn a lot more classical stuff. And
with that, on just thinking about it now, which institution did you do it with?
That's through Trinity.
Trinity, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if you don't know, there's Trinity, ABRSM, I can put some links maybe if you're interested in that. Okay, yeah.
So that's, I feel like everything I've done has been through Trinity. I should actually broaden my horizons. I should try some ABRSM. I've had students do ABRSM, but I personally, all of my exams have been through Trinity.
I don't know, maybe it was because of Vian. Like, I was just exposed to Trinity. And it made sense for me, also on the drum kit.
Yeah.
Because it makes that classical repertoire, but like the more contemporary that I was more drawn to.
Yes, they have nice repertoire at Trinity. I really enjoy their repertoire range.
Yeah.
So when I have to play classical stuff, then I have to really work a little bit harder because I feel like you get out of practice of doing that. Yeah.
All right. But I mean, it's in your muscle memory.
Yeah, it comes back. It comes back. It just needs a bit of extra hours of practice.
All right. And then the Igoli Symphonic Orchestra.
The Igoli Symphonic Orchestra is super exciting.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to be involved there. Adam Howard's put this orchestra together. It started out with the Red Bull Symphonic that we did a couple months ago. That was kind of the first time we saw this Igoli Symphonic Orchestra. And since then, he's done some wonderful concerts that he's put together. We played with Mandisi Diantis.
Oh, yeah.
Which was so cool. It was lovely.
Wow.
It was a beautiful, I mean, his music is great already, but with an orchestra, it was so lovely to do.
I'm still like, Yeah, I mean, it's life going around, but I would want to sit in one of his concerts.
Yeah.
That guy is just phenomenal.
He was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was really lovely.
Okay, wow.
And then we did a concert series with Jonathan Rocksmith at the Teatro
Okay.
the
Is
past
it the
2 weekends ago. My favorite Broadway. Yes, it was lovely. So that was kind of the first big concert that launched the Egoli Symphonic Orchestra. And hopefully there'll be many exciting things in the future.
I'm sure.
Howard Events puts on so many cool shows. They've done all the Swingle Bells and the Swing in Las Vegas. And
I was in one of those. I saw Casper play in
yes,
that.
Casper was
and
in all of those.
Little brother there.
Oh,
like
sweet.
we loved it.
Yeah.
So I mean, with the opportunity you having with the Egoli Symphonic Orchestra, I mean, I'm a piano like Red Bull.
Yeah.
With Capsa just for like and all these. I think this year was Kevin Momo.
Yeah.
Like, how's that experience for you?
It was super cool. I mean, it was also interesting seeing the evolution from last year when you did it with Kabza De Small and Calvin Momo's show this year. I feel like they embraced the orchestra even more this year. And Calvin Momo's music was very melodic. So I think it lent itself really beautifully to the orchestra.
It sits nicely.
Yeah, I mean, Kabza's show was also amazing. He has some bangers. It was lovely. But I feel like they were more confident in what the orchestra could do this year. So we got a lot more exciting parts to play. And it worked really well. I think it was really well received. I think people...
I watched it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously seeing you coming up, I'm like, wow, that's like, I don't know how to put it. And like I always say, like looking backwards from the JYO, and I mean now understanding your music background a little bit more, and now you're on these big stages,
It's like the dream. I could never have imagined my life being like this. I remember doing some of those concerts with JYO and at the time studying engineering and having to go home and do maths and coming to JYO, doing these concerts and sitting and thinking, why am I not doing this? This is what I love doing. And it felt so unattainable. So that's why I'm just, every time I get an opportunity, I'm just like, this is what I get to do.
So do you listen to Amapiano now?
I have got some playlists going now. Yeah, now I need to try and predict who the next person's going to be so that I can plan.
You can start planning
for next time.
Okay, that's really good. And with that in mind, how do you see the future of orchestra in South Africa or just beyond with these collaborations that are happening with pop artists, Amapiano artists, and more, I mean, we could say like a traditional orchestra. Do you see that as a good thing, positive thing, or like you're a purist? You're like, I mean, obviously you're playing, but I just want to hear your thoughts on that. Like,
I think it's absolutely a good thing because I feel like these kind of things have made orchestral setups more accessible to people. I mean, obviously, I hope that the classical orchestra, well, I know it will always be a thing.
Yeah.
But my hope is that having people exposed to orchestras in these kind of fusion shows will maybe make a couple of people think, maybe I should go to a JPO concert. Let's go see what that's about. And then, we'll start bringing a new audience to the classical stuff as well, which is just as cool, obviously in a completely different genre. But I really hope that the exposure of people seeing orchestras in these kind of shows with the Amapiano, even with the Broadway stuff, maybe it will, someone will see that and then when a JPO concert comes up, then they'll go see that as well. And it all works together to just keep music going.
Yeah.
I think obviously the arts is so underfunded in South Africa. We really need to build a buy-in from the community of people wanting to go and support the arts. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah. I'm excited for the future of music and the orchestra. And like you said, I'm actually curious, like, do they, with the audience in like, one of the shows, because I've seen the videos that you can see that, okay, the audience, obviously it's not like as quiet as the classic, but you can see that, okay, people are sitting down.
Yeah. I didn't think they would sit down so much.
Yeah.
I thought they would be up
Do they
more.
like educate the audience? They're like,
No,
you know.
I mean, I don't think that they really said anything about it. I think if people can sit, they will sit. And then they'll just party in the top half.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, well done. Kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
And I asked Casper on the previous episode, and if you haven't watched any episodes
Go and watch them
other
all.
music stuff,
They're all very
I'll put
interesting.
a link. Yeah. So you are saying like sometimes you get the music like, I don't know, just 2 weeks before, you know.
Yeah.
Has that been a challenge for you? Like, say if you haven't familiarized with the repertoire and they give, obviously they're gonna give you a score, right?
Yeah, most
I
things
think
you do get a score
still
for.
have like click in.
Yes. Yes, not for everything, but for the Red Bull we did. We
Okay.
had the click, which helps.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do generally give the scores a week or two in advance.
Okay. So take me through, because like I said, I want this platform to be as practical as possible. And I hope you don't mind me asking. So take me through Lindzi getting an email or WhatsApp to say like, okay, we want you for this gig. What's your procedure like, from accepting the gig to invoicing to like getting the music and practice and get to the stage?
Yeah.
How's that for you?
Sure, that's a loaded question. Yeah, so I mean, it differs depending on where the gig is coming from as well. So if it's like a string quartet gig with a group that I've played with for a while, then often it's just like, this gig's on this day, great.
Yeah.
If I know the music already, then it's no stress, and I just rock up and do the gig, and it's very easy. Other things, like these more orchestral kind of things, you get the music. If you're a real cowboy, you can just rock up and just sight read on the day.
Yeah.
But I do like to try and kind of listen to the music before to kind of just have a little bit of familiarity with what's happening. Even if you're not able to play physically, but to follow along in the score with the track, it's really good prep just to know more or less what's happening. Invoicing is a big thing. Hey, it feels like so much work, even though it's not. But it does.
Yeah.
You got to be so on top of your invoicing. I had it was for teaching actually, but I realized at the end of last year that there was one parent I just did an invoice for the last month of the year, and I only realized in like February the next year, and I was like, oh well, it's too late now.
It's too late.
So you have to be so organized on top of your invoicing. I've been using an app called Bookkeepy for invoicing,
cool.
which has been really helpful.
I'll check that
they
out.
keep track of everything really nicely. They've recently, unfortunately, enforced a payment structure for it.
Is it for it?
It's been free up till now, and now all of a sudden they're like, now you must pay if you want to send more than 10 invoices a month or something.
I think they'll see that, okay, if people are using it.
But it is a really well-designed app, but I don't know if I did the free trial now. I'm not sure if I'm going to end up paying for it because it's quite expensive. So I might have to look into something else. But apps like that, I find it makes it really easy to track because you can see, have you sent this invoice? Have they paid it? Is it partially paid? And then it helps to keep track of the invoicing, because that for me was a big thing to learn, because they didn't teach you that anyway.
They don't teach it anyway. That's what I'm asking. It's like, I think for me, again, Vian was my teacher, mentor, and I think one of my first gigs was actually through him. So he took me through like, okay,
doing the invoice.
This is the invoice. This is how you sort of go through that and stuff. And I mean, no one teaches you how to do that. And then
but I've also learned recently I had to, like, you can ask people for help. People, if you have a community of people, there are people that will be able to help you. I had this experience where I got booked for a gig for solo cello. So it's going to be solo cello with whatever backing tracks, and the person asked me for my tech rider, and I was like, I don't have a tech rider. I mean, I know more or less what I need, but what do you want when you say you want a tech rider? And so I reached out to a colleague or a friend who's I've done gigs with before, and I know that she does that kind of stuff often. And I said, I'm sorry if this is a stupid question, but like, what do I need to put in a tech rider? And I felt so bad asking, and she responded so like in such a kind way, and she was like, please don't be afraid to ask. Like, I'll send you my tech rider. Like, people are very helpful for the most part in the industry. Find your people that you know have got your back, and they will help you with these kind of things.
Ask, actually.
Don't be scared to ask. It always feels so scary to ask for help. But what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. Okay. No,
Yeah.
awesome. And with your cello is like, okay, so I wanna buy an instrument. Now I've decided that I'm going into music and stuff. So what would be your advice to getting an instrument? Do you advise someone who's going to be studying, like, get an intermediate type of an instrument first before they invest into the more high-end ones? Or do you think like that's a make or break with your instruments, especially when it comes to cello?
That's an interesting question. I think it varies based on your experience. I got a cello when I was in school. My first full-size cello that I got, and I used it right up until last year. I only bought a new cello that was slightly
so for all those
better
years,
for all those years, I've been using my Sandner student cello. I put nice strings on it and stuff like that. So I feel like if you have a solid bass instrument, you can upgrade it with things like the strings and you know, stuff like that you can get by really nicely on a nothing fancy instrument. But I bought myself like an intermediate level cello. I can tell the difference between them quite substantially in the sound. Like the sound quality in my intermediate cello, which is still an intermediate, it's not like fancy. But there's definitely a sound quality difference. But I wouldn't say that you need the best of the best to be doing this. I could have very happily carried on, and I still love my student cello. I use it for teaching mostly now, but when I play it maybe it's because I've played it for like 20 years. But it's like the easiest thing in the world, whereas my new cello, I'm still, even after a year and a half, I'm still getting used to it, I feel like. But you can also try out instruments. I mean, there's lots of places where you can buy instruments and you can go and try them out and see what works for you, but don't feel like you need to spend, because look, cello is an expensive instrument, unfortunately. Cellos are super, super expensive. So there's lovely places where you can try out instruments, and if you need if you need to get some ideas.
Cool. So cello is quite a niche, I would like to think, niche instrument. And if someone is looking at their own instrument, with all this that has happened, like for you, you know, what advice would you have for them to say, like practicing wise, listen the music that they listen to, so that maybe it's more versatile? Or I'm not sure if I'm projecting my question properly, but like, to branch out of cello being cello known for classical, what advice would you have for them to start taking now? Maybe they are learning the instrument now.
Wow. I would say don't be afraid of experimenting. The one thing I feel like I'm a rule follower. So I did my classical training and I learned my pieces and I learned my scales, and I never experimented outside of that space. Now I'm doing a lot of more solo cello repertoire where I'm just learning songs by ear. I'd never done that before. And I always just thought, I can't play by ear. But again, it's not something that you can or can't do. It's something you learn to do. So I wish in hindsight I would have tried that sooner. So I would say, while you're doing you're learning your classical stuff, like that's brilliant. It's such a good foundation. I'm so grateful every day for my classical foundation. But don't be scared to try different things. I have one of my students at the moment is just super into Pirates of the Caribbean and just has learned Pirates of the Caribbean just by ear.
Really sounds
and
cool,
then we got some music for it, and now we've probably learned Pirates of the Caribbean. But it's so cool to see at such a young age already that like curiosity of just exploring something that's outside of your structures. I wish I had done that sooner. So don't be scared to try and play by ear. Don't be scared to just wing it. You don't have to have music for everything.
No, awesome. And do you have any favorite cellists? Can you name a few? Maybe if you have some from here in SA that you look up to, and internationally as well.
Yes. Well, internationally, I'm really into at the moment Shekukana Mason. He is wonderful. He plays so beautifully. I just really enjoy his interpretations.
So if I'm not mistaken, he's from London or UK?
Yes, he's from the UK. Yes. He played at the Royal
Royal
Wedding.
Wedding,
So
yeah.
that was the first time I saw it, like 8 years ago. He was very young when he did that, actually.
yeah.
But I actually got really into his interpretations of, I'd play the Elgar, the first
Yeah.
movement of the Elgar cello concerto for my
Yeah.
exam last year. And so I listened to his recording of it, and it was so beautiful. So I'm really enjoying him at the moment. Locally, there are so many. I have spent years working with so many different cellists and observing them and taking little things from
Yeah.
what I love about what they do. I could list them all. I played a lot with Daliwonga recently.
Yeah.
He is amazing. He is, I just wish I had his sense of chill. Like, he is so calm. I need to learn that from him because I get so wound up sometimes. Peter Ann Holcroft is lovely.
Okay.
She helped me through my exam last year. My teacher was Maureen Mahler. So she is also amazing. Shout out to her. But we have so many brilliant cellists in this country. Carl Hen as well. I would love to work a little bit more with Carl because I feel like he has a lot of wisdom as well. So many cellists are just lovely people.
Okay, wow.
I've never met a cellist that I thought, wow, I don't really want to spend time with you.
Okay.
But that's also one piece of advice that I would say, especially when you get a chance to play with other musicians, just observe them a little bit. Look out the corner of your eye, see what they're doing, see if they do something different to how you do it. Think about why would they do it that way? What can you take from it? I think it's so important to observe people that are playing around you.
Okay. Wow. Wow. This has been great. But before we get to the closing, I just want to find out from you, how do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I thought you were going to ask me this question, and I thought I would try and prep for it, and I couldn't even think of a good answer. Carry on. Musically? Personally?
Personally, I mean, you were talking earlier on about like maybe production-wise, if you thought about that. And actually, in hindsight, do you know Abel?
Yes. Oh, how did I not mention Abel? Oh, my word. He's doing fantastic things as well. Wow.
So, I mean, looking at that, like, do you perhaps see yourself something like that?
I wouldn't even dare to dream that I'd do anything like what Abel is doing. Wow. No, that's amazing to see where he's come from and where he's reached. It's so inspiring. Wow. I struggle with this question of like, where do I see myself in 5 years? Because 5 years ago, I didn't even see myself here. 5 years ago when I was working in a bank, I didn't even see myself doing this. So at the moment, every moment, I'm just so happy to be doing this. But at the beginning of the year, I thought it would be really nice to do a bit more orchestral stuff, which I've been so grateful already to be doing a bit with the Egoli Symphonic. I would love one day to play a season with JPO just to have that experience. I've never done that. That's something that's kind of a bucket list thing that would be amazing one day to do. It doesn't even have to be in the next 5 years. It can be in the next 25 years.
It's going to happen.
I don't mind.
I feel like it's going to happen. And when it happens, we're going to have Lindzi come back.
And we'll break it down.
Yeah, and then we'll break it down.
Yeah, I'd like to get more structured in my, like what we were talking about earlier with the invoicing and the, the structure of getting from inquiry to gig. I feel like I've done a lot of work for other people. I've been booked a lot by other people to do things. I've had 1 or 2 opportunities in recent months to manage my own gig, but I've been booked directly. And every time I've done it, I've felt a little bit overwhelmed. So I would love to get to a point in the future where I'm got that process nailed down better. And like you say, I'm so overwhelmed by music production. It scares me to death. So I would like to look into that a little bit at some point. I'll reach out and you can help me.
But more than welcome
at the end of the day, I don't mind where I am in 5 years. As long as I'm still enjoying myself like I am now, I'll be happy.
Okay. I mean, I know you dog mom.
Oh, yes.
Does he love when you practicing
Grayson
and stuff?
couldn't care less
Is it?
when I practice. She just comes in and she's like, excuse me, why are you not giving me attention right now. She's actually a little bit cautious of the cello. When I'm carrying it around, she's always like, oh.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, my dog has more followers than I do on Instagram. Raisin the Chocolate Lab. Check her out.
Yeah, please.
She is so much cooler than me in every way. But she the sound doesn't bother her at all. She doesn't really care.
Is it? Okay.
She's not going to lie there and listen to me play. But every now and then she comes in and she's like, "Are you still doing this?
Yeah.
Can we go play ball?" But she's very chilled.
Good. It was lovely having you, Lindzi.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's such a privilege to be on here. And you, like I said, you having such important conversations. And I just love that you're giving people a platform to share their wisdom. So, well, not wisdom, but their experiences and life journeys. You can learn a lot from hearing what people have gone through.
If someone out there can carve their own way around the music industry from these conversations, I've served the purpose, and that's my goal.
That's awesome.
So before we leave the platform, can you please tell the audience if they want to get hold of you and maybe direct more followers to here?
Yes, I need to catch up.
What are your social handles and stuff?
My Instagram handle is Lindzi Moore. And that's pretty much it. I'm not on TikTok, I'm afraid.
Okay.
I'm not cool enough for that. I'm so overwhelmed by TikTok.
Like everybody who's coming here, they say they're not on TikTok.
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
Okay, I mean, Tommy, we play with him, with Bradley in the marimba band. He was also saying like his TikTok is sort of like, but I've had to come out of my shell.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I need to, because I find some of the platforms, they don't serve the same purpose.
Yes,
right?
I think so.
And because we've seen the consumption of TikTok, you always feel like, okay, it's not gonna save what I do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be dancing.
Yeah, but I feel like sometimes it can still sort of direct to what you do.
That's true. Maybe in 5 years' time, I'm going to be big on TikTok.
Yeah.
But for now, you can find me on Instagram.
Right. Okay, so that's it, Instagram.
That's pretty much it. I mean, I'm on Facebook, but don't add me as a friend on Facebook.
Yeah, no. So Instagram it is.
It's the place.
Thank you, Lindzi.
Thank you, Hastings. It's been such a pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. So, guys, till the next one.
Happy Women's Month.
Happy Women's Month, too. Peace.
Bye.